Education qualification like IIT, IIM, CFA, and a work experience in investment banking, private equity, and corporate finance in India and in UAE is just a dream for one. But our guest for today, Mr. Anshul Garg, has done it all. Hi, Anshul. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you, Hetal.
What about MBA and CFA? Did you know you would make a jump into finance?
So eventually, when I started to focus more on studies, I cleared IIT, I cleared CAT, and eventually things started to fall in place. But eventually, during my MBA course, I realized that I have a strong nuance for numbers. I'm good with data analytics. I'm good with research. So, and I don't see myself as a marketing or a sales guy. So eventually, for me, during my MBA, I kind of focused more on strategy and finance, and this is how I started my internship with Airtel in general management and strategy, and eventually I took my courses in finance, which I really liked and I wanted to learn and was curious about. And eventually, slowly and slowly, I built the fundamentals. I learned about finance. I wanted to pursue a career in finance, and that's how I started my career in investment banking.
That's nice to hear. So tell us whether in all this, does engineering qualification help you in what you do today, or in hindsight, you think you could have taken CFA and MBA early on in your life, or
See,
does it actually help?
personally speaking, I think engineering helps me a lot till today because the fundamentals kind of overlap between finance and engineering. Why I say so is, again, in engineering, you have to have logical thinking. You need to be very good at research. You need to kind of be very strong in data analytics, and definitely it's a lot of hard work and complex calculations and maths, right? So eventually the hard work, the determination, the ease of understanding and thinking logically kind of translates into finance as well. So I feel engineering and my 4 years at IIT really helped me to groom myself and pursue a career in investment banking.
How did you plan your career into finance, that to PE, M&A, IB specifically? Was it easy finding opportunities in these profiles, or did you face challenges in your way out?
I think there were 3, 4 logical moves to reach where I am right now. So once I graduated from my B school, I started my career in investment banking. So those 2.5 years, when you work in a global investment bank as an analyst, you kind of pick up on certain skills, the fundamentals, the nuances of the industry. So that really helped me to hone myself, build the skill set, learn how the investment banking world works, and eventually what an investment bank does. It's basically that it's advising a particular client, whether on merger, acquisition, fundraising, divestment. So it's mostly financial advisory that you provide, and handling a client is a tough process. And eventually, when you start consulting and working on big deals, it kind of creates that structure in your head. Now, once I did my 2.5 years in a global investment bank, I realized that eventually, when you do an M&A, you kind of for an investment bank, it's done, right? So there is no responsibility after that in terms of strategic transition, how the entity gets merged, what are the synergies that needs to be reaped in. So for me, I wanted to focus on that as well. So this is how I landed up my with a stint in corporate finance. So within corporate finance, basically the company is your client, right? So you are working
Hmm.
for the company, doing deals for the company, and it is your responsibility to make the right bet. And after making the right bet, you need to kind of integrate, merge, and make it work. So that operational expertise, that kind of strategic thinking is one step uh, on top of what you learn in iBanking. So that's why I shifted my second stint was in the field of corporate finance within M&A. Now, eventually, when you have done advising your client, when you have done doing M&A deals for your own company, then basically you have understood the mechanics of how to do deal making and how to do investments, right? So this is how logically I wanted to move to private equity. And like in the hierarchy of corporate finance, I feel private equity sits at the top because number one, it is a lot of responsibility because it's like you are investing your own money in various startups in various businesses. So till the time you don't know how to sell a business, you will not be able to buy a business. So technically my experience at an investment bank and my stint at corporate finance really helped me to kind of be ready for a career in private equity. Then within private equity, again, the amount of due diligence that goes into making a decision is way higher than in an investment bank or in corporate M&A because you are managing your shareholders' wealth. The returns matters. Your management fee matters. So the complexity of the entire ecosystem is higher. It was a gradual process for me, and where I am right now, it was like 7 years of hard work.
Just going a bit more detail into the Nomura analyst role, would you call that role a front end job? Like you would deal with client day in, day out, or was it more of an analyst wherein you would just, go through the company financials, etc.?
So, in Nomura, investment banking is a front-ending job. We were directly working with clients. Now, how it is structured is because I passed out from an Indian B school. The initial 3 to 4 months of training happens in Mumbai office, and once you learn those aspects, learns the basics, and a team has been allocated. Like for me, I was working with a London team, so eventually it was on and off that you keep traveling to London, come back to Mumbai. So it was a full-time front end job wherein we were working directly with clients on various deals in M&A and equity capital markets. At an analyst level, I think the major deliverables remain that you need to be really good at Excel. Want to be very good at research. You need to kind of manage client expectations, tight deliverables. So first 2 years of uh, as an analyst in a global investment bank, definitely they are stress like they are stressful, but eventually that legwork helps you down the line when you grow up the hierarchy.
So fast forward 2016 UAE. How did that happen?
Again, it was a logical decision that I took. The options were I stay in Mumbai, I stay in London, or explore a new geography. And in 2016, due to Brexit, the economic picture of UK was not looking uh, really exciting. Whereas when you kind of broaden your geographical preferences, I saw a big opportunity within Middle East. Uh, Specifically, at that time, UAE was hot, and now KSA is hot. So logically, when you start evaluating why Dubai, for me, I feel that it's a smaller market in comparison to India or Western world. But with that smaller market, there is a gap between demand and supply, right? So here there is shortage of good talented people, and at that time, I took the leap of faith, wanted to kind of make my name in the industry and in the geography because I felt that the talent would be well appreciated. So that was my conscious decision, professionally speaking, to choose Dubai. And there were other personal reasons for choosing Dubai. It's closer to home. It's like equivalent of working in Mumbai, right? It's 3 hours from where I live in Delhi. And whether you live in Dubai or Mumbai, it's indifferent. And plus the benefits in terms of tax-free salary, lifestyle, and all those things kind of added up and made it a more exciting option for me.
Okay. Uh, so your first job in Dubai was Avivo, then Alcif, and now it's Alcazar, right? So tell us more about specific roles that you've played in these organizations.
So, within a span of 6.5 years of my experience in Dubai, first three and a half, as I mentioned, were in corporate finance, M&A. Avivo was the healthcare platform for a private equity firm called Alcazar Capital. So they wanted to list this healthcare business on London Stock Exchange. So given my expertise that I developed in Nomura, that's why I kind of moved into this role, wherein we acquired new assets in healthcare, and then we wanted to package it and create a sizable business which could be listed or IPO'd on London Stock Exchange. So that was my first stint within Dubai in corporate finance, wherein we acquired a number of assets in GCC in healthcare space. Then we worked with various banks to kind of build the equity story, did the valuations and the road shows for the marketing and building investor traction, and eventually we wanted to do the IPO. And the second stint was with Seif Group. It's a big conglomerate based out of Saudi, and they are diversified and they have exposure in different geographies and different sectors. So eventually, I was reporting to the headquarters, and I was working in a close team of corporate strategy and M&A. Our My responsibility was to drive growth through inorganic processes. So basically through JVs, through M&A, through greenfield and brownfield projects, and eventually the vision of the group was to grow faster in certain geographies. I understood what the corporate strategy, I understood their vision. We developed a 5-year corporate strategy, which involved a certain piece for the M&A. And within a span of 2.5 years, we executed those M&A deals, transformed the businesses which were struggling through a strategic turnaround. And eventually, I kind of paused and realized what next within LSEF. And the answer was, now every company has a certain budget for M&A, right? And once that budget is being done and your corporate objectives have been fulfilled, the next eventual step is to kind of scale up the business which you have acquired. So that's why, again, I took a conscious decision of going to my field of specialization and not in operations, but back to M&A and investing. And that's how I landed up with Alcazar Capital. Alcazar Capital is a private equity firm based out of Dubai International Financial Center, DIFC. It has been in the region for almost 12 years now. For last 3 years, we have been investing across venture capital, growth equity, doing acquisitions, management buyouts across sectors and geographies, and it has been an exciting journey till now.
Wow. See, that's all. These are dream roles and high paying and even higher on stress. So how can others start a career in IB, M&A, P? What skill sets or qualifications would you recommend to our viewers?
So I talked about my engineering and MBA. I didn't touch on CFA. So CFA is a different beast in comparison to CA or MBA or engineering. And the reason being, till the time I was in India or in UK, I never felt the need of doing CFA. But when I landed in Dubai, I realized that there is there is difference in how CFA is being projected in the market. So I just then there was a series of observations, such as if you see in investment banking or investment community, most of the senior professionals, they are CFA holders. And then secondly, CA and CFA are the blue chip charters which are highly recognized within a local community, within sovereign wealth funds. When you start talking to various professionals, I realized that there was a clear trend that in terms of screening, in terms of kind of segmenting good from the best from the good, CFA was kind of a screening criteria. And that's why I made again a conscious decision of pursuing CFA. And eventually I completed that degree within 1.5 years in parallel to my corporate work. Now, how to kind of start from the start for an individual? I think there is no one standard track or or a clear path which everybody can follow. Now, for a fresher, it's again I understand investment banking, private equity, venture capital. These are sought after roles, but with all due respect, I don't want to kind of discount the other roles within the corporate finance stream as well. You have equity research, you have asset management, you have hedge funds, you have wealth management, you have trading. So it's like a very diversified field in corporate finance. But there is a misconception within students, within junior people who want to be in this field, that M&A, IB is the more glorified profession. It's more high paying, it's more glamorous, it's more exciting. You will work on bigger deals, better deals, whereas the other fields are not that exciting enough. Maybe depends on personal opinion again, but it's every profession has pros and cons, and the high paying job comes with a similar level of stress, the similar level of working hours, similar level of responsibilities. So it depends in the end what exactly you want to do with your career and how you see yourself justifying where you are. Because one trend that I have started to realize uh, in people who are just graduating out of college, they want quick results. So I particularly feel that it cannot happen overnight. You need to envision what the bigger aim is. I have seen people working in investment bank making $1 million a year, still they were not happy, and they switched back to starting their own thing and going back to corporate M&A because it's more balanced, it has a decent work-life balance, and then want to slog 20 hours. So it's a very difficult question to answer where to start and where to end. But eventually, you have to be conscious enough to understand what are your strengths, what you want to be, what you can do, and very importantly, what you cannot do. So till that time, it's a process of elimination, and once you start realizing and asking right questions, you will make the right decisions.
Very well said. So, you touched upon these various roles in corporate finance other than the prominent ones which are famous among students. So, do you see more of these opportunities coming up in Dubai specifically? And if yes, where can one find these roles and opportunities?
To be honest, the amount of hiring, the amount of interest uh, within various corporates, it has been unprecedented in last 8 to 9 months. I haven't seen so much heavy recruitment happening within M&A space, within VC space, within PE space, within sovereign wealth funds, and I have been here for last 6.5 years. And now, why is it happening? There are again certain logical explanations, right? Now, because of the oil dividend, they have so much surplus cash, they want to invest and secure their future. And for
Correct.
investing, they need to have right set of people within their investment teams. So Abu Dhabi has been really hot. They have been recruiting left, right, and center in kind of expanding their investment teams. Whether you talk about ADQ, Chimera Capital, Mubadala, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, Abu Dhabi Investment Office, and secondly, the second biggest change that has happened within Dubai has been the venture capital ecosystem. So you never imagined that you will have so many startups, so many venture capital funding happening within GCC. So just to throw numbers, private equity is now at second. Venture capital is the hottest market right now within Middle East. It has surpassed all the track records in terms of funding. You see a lot of new startups wanting to shift their headquarters from India or London to Dubai because there are so many subsidies involved. And as a strategic location, it gives you access to South Asian markets, it gives you access to African markets, it gives you access to European markets, right? And plus, family offices and sovereign wealth funds have realized that venture capital as a space has matured. They never wanted to invest in a Series A startup. They were wanting to invest in more traditional businesses because technology was not at forefront. Pandemic kind of shifted that. Now they see that innovation, technology, bringing the best practices in this part of the world is the only way to kind of be ahead of the curve. And that's why you see a lot of startups being developed, a lot of venture capital firms being set up, and a lot of hiring happening in VC space. So venture capital is hot, private equity is hot. Now, how to reach to these positions, right? And this is the hard nut to crack. You know that recruitment is happening, but you have 100,000 people applying for that pivoting roles, right? And again, it's a very tough question that doesn't have a clear cut answer. And I get so many queries every day on LinkedIn. Uh, the best, I'll say the best process that worked for me is knowing the right set of headhunters. Headhunters have access directly to corporates. So there are specialized headhunters and companies within Middle East who are recruiting for specific roles, but they are very, very specific. If your profile is 99% matching to their expectations, then only you will get a response. So the competition is really stiff. And the uh, recruitment strategies, they are being very narrowed. There is nobody to train you because, and you need to be entrepreneurial and kickstart the work from day one. The second is the most fruitful one is networking. Now, knowing the right set of people, being at the right place at the right time worked for me. I would have never landed up in Alcazar Capital or landed up in Seif Group or Alcazar Capital if if I didn't know the right set of people. Because if a company is recruiting you, they do a lot of screening process, right? And similarly, I always say that you also have to screen the companies, and that intel can only happen if you know the right set of people. So networking through I for me, I'm really super active on LinkedIn. Third, and the most easy way is to bombard your CV on various job portals. And again, as it's correlated to your headhunters right now, the algorithms are so stiff, they will only pick certain keywords in your CV, and it should be 100% matched, then only you will get a shortlisted call. So there are certain things that a particular company wants to listen, and if you have a standard CV for every company, then definitely they will figure that out, that it is a run of the mill process that you are following. And finally, just keep on tracking the market. Right now, Dubai is now saturated in comparison to KS. Similarly, Bahrain is hot on venture capital. So all these trends come with when you start tracking the market.
That was brief. Any learnings, Anshul, from your journey so far, which you would like to share with our viewers?
If I have to conclude it in one sentence, it's the journey, your career is a marathon. It's not a sprint. uh, you need to be diligent and hardworking. There is no substitute for hardworking. You might be the brightest mind in the room, but you need to do that legwork to prove your worth.
On that note, thank you, Anshul. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure.
Uh,